Good evening, everyone. And this is Sanjay Sinha from Aurora International School, and a very hearty welcome to everyone to Aurora Online Classes. My dear students, today I'll proceed with the same lesson, that is two stories about flying. It has two stories, but I'll continue with the first story. And the first story of this lesson from your first flight is His First Flight by Liam O. Flaherty. This is a story. In my previous class I taught you that this story highlights so many things. This story highlights actually that courage and confidence. Courage and confidence are very much needed for anyone to succeed in one's life. Without courage and confidence, nobody can even think of success. Nobody can even dream of success. At the same time, I taught you that it is a very well known fact that doing something for the first time is really a very challenging work. Even it happens with a human baby. It is a very difficult task for a human baby to stand or to take his first step. At the same time, we find that in this story, we shall come to know about the role of parents for teaching the skills, values, and virtues of life to his children. Because to acquire skills in life is necessary for anyone for a better life. If you really want to live a dignified life, if you want to live a comfortable life, you need to acquire certain skills. So certain skills are needed for the survival as well as for a better and brave life, for a decent and dignified life. Parents play a very great role, a very crucial role in upbringing of their children. The story actually highlights the importance of, this is what I taught you in my previous class, that the story highlights the importance of independence, self-independence, self-belief and confidence. At the same time, apart from independence, self-belief and confidence, there is always a need for motivation to attain your goals. Motivation is more than 100% needed for anyone to attain his or her goal. It's needed. It's essential. I would say it is indispensable. You should be motivated. You should be motivated. If you have a positive motivation, this positive motivation inspires you. It boosts up your strength. It gives a push to your morality to do something better and fairer in your life and to achieve higher and ever higher in your life. So this story highlights the importance of independence, self-belief and confidence, and also a need for motivation to attain goal. This story is about courage and self-confidence. You see that the seagull is actually a seabird who lives near the sea, and this seagull had short legs and long wings. The seagull is a seabird. It's a very beautiful bird, and it has short legs and long wings with white and grey feathers. Its feathers are white and grey. It's a very beautiful bird. Here the seagull, we are talking about young seagull, as to how that young seagull was initially, earlier, he was afraid of flying. He was afraid of flying because he was afraid. Actually, he was sitting on a cliff. He was sitting on a ledge, and he was sitting like that. He would suppose this is a cliff. This is a cliff, and he was sitting here. So he was, this is called, this cliff, this rock is called ledge, and he was sitting on this ledge. And then just below the ledge, because this ledge was on the seashore near the sea area, or this ledge was near the seashore, or you can say this was near, this was very close to the sea, and just below the ledge, below the rock, there was a very vast expanse of sea. There was a huge sea all around. There was a vast stretch of sea all around. So the seagull was afraid of flying, because he thought if he tries to flap his wings to fly, he will fall down into the seawater, and once he falls down into the seawater, he will sink in the seawater, he will drown in the sink water. Drown means sink, dub jana. So this was, so fear had seized seagull, and seagull was the victim of fear. And we shall come to know, as I said earlier in my previous class, as to how does the seagull's mother motivate seagull to take his first flight when everybody ignores him. This is his mother who tempts him with food, and who plays a trick, who makes a strategy, who plays a trick to make seagull fly, and ultimately the seagull's mother trick succeeds, and seagull learns to fly, and he takes his first flight. He overcomes his fear, he conquers his fear, he gets over his fear. When I say overcome means to win, जीत जाना, डर पर जीत जाना, हासिल करना. To conquer fear means to get over fear or to overcome his fear. Then he realized that there was no fear at all. His fear disappeared, and he succeeded in taking his first flight. This is what I have already taught you in my previous class. Let's line by line, without wasting too much of your time. Be ready. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. One day before, they had flown away. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. The great expanse of sea, underline it, the great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down, he felt certain that his wings would never support him, underline it. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, underline it, ran to the brink, flapped their wings and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to take that plunge, means final dive, which appeared to him so desperate. His father and mother had come around, calling to him shrilly, upbraiding him. Upbraiding means scolding, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him he could not move. That was 24 hours ago. Since then nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters, perfecting them in the art of flight, underline, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it. Herring is a kind of fish. It standing on a rock while his parents circled round, raising a proud cackle. Cackle means this is the sound of bird. All the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau, midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cordaice. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his that faced the south. He felt that the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. He stepped slowly out to the brink of the lake, and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under his wing, he closed one eye, underline it, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep, underline it. Still they took no notice of him, underline it. He saw his two brothers and sister lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into the necks. His father was preening the feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau. Her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore at a piece of fish that lay at her feet, and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. The sight of the food maddened him, underline it. How he loved to tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Wet means to sharpen it. Ga, 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 he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Ga, kolha, she screamed back derisively, but he kept calling plaintively, and after a minute or so he uttered a joyful scream. His mother had picked up a piece of the fish and was flying across to him with it. He leaned out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as he flew across. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why did not come nearer, and when, maddened by hunger, underline it, he dived at the fish. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into space, underline it. Then a monstrous terror seized him, and his heart stood still. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. The next moment he felt his wings spread outwards, underline it. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong now. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upwards. Ga, ga, ga. Gakala, his mother, swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered with another scream. Then his father flew over him, screaming. He saw his two brothers and his sisters flying around him, curveting. Curveting means leaping like a horse. Banking means flying with one wing higher than the other. And soaring and diving. So curveting, banking, soaring and diving are the movements or are the ways of flying. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly, and commended himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea, underline it, beneath him, with little ridges. Ridges means waves, moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on his green flowering ahead of him. They were beckoning his signal to indicate Isara dena. Calling shrilly, he dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright, fright means fear, and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings, but he was tired and weak with hunger. Underline it, he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise. Exhausted by the strange exercise, his feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no farther. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. It's a kind of sea fish. He had made his first flight. Dear students, as I said right now, that the young seagull was on the ledge, and actually he was afraid of flying because he thought even if he tries to make an attempt to fly, he would fall down into the sea, because beneath the ledge, beneath the rock, or beneath the cliff, there was a huge sea. There was a vast stretch of sea all around. So he was afraid of falling down and sinking into the sea. That's why he was not making any attempt. Actually, one day before, the seagull's parents were trying hard. Seagull's parents were trying hard to make him fly, but he was so scared that he was not able to fly. Even let us talk about the seagull's brothers and sisters. The seagull's brothers and sisters had flown away because the seagull's parents had uh, taught them how to fly in the sky, and he was perfecting them in the art of fly, and they had come to know how to fly. They had also come to know, they had also learnt the art of flying. His brothers and sister had learnt the art of flying. They had also learnt to dive at the fish. They had also learnt to dive in the sea to catch fish. So they had learnt all sorts of flight, like curveting, like banking, like soaring high in the sky. All sorts of, means his brothers and sisters had learned all sorts of flight, and it was his parents who perfected them in the art of flying, and they were very happy. Now, since he was not flying, even his brothers and sisters had shorter wings than the seagulls, than the seagull had it his own. Means their wings were shorter than his own. Means their wings were shorter, far shorter than the seagulls. But actually they scolded him, they threatened him. Actually his parents threatened that if he doesn't make an attempt to fly, they will leave him on the ledge, they will leave him on the rock, and he will die of hunger. Nobody will bring food for seagull. So they threatened him, they scolded him, and actually his brothers and sisters flew all around, and they flew to some other rock, and they were very happy. They were also making fun of seagull. His brothers and sisters were making fun of seagull for his cowardice, because he was so afraid. But actually seagull remained hungry. Seagull remained on the ledge, remained on the rock for 24 hours, and he went into the hole of the ledge of the rock and spent the whole night there. Now there was nothing for seagull to eat. There was no food all around. And what happened, as I said right now, that since he was very hungry, he was tired and exhausted. Then everybody ignored seagull. They threatened him, they scolded him, they came to him, and they tried their level best to make him fly, even though seagull could not fly. Because doing something for the first time is really very challenging, and if you try out to learn something, see, fly is the natural act, is the natural ability found in birds. Birds have natural ability to fly, and so he was seized. Even he tried, seagull tried to come to the brink of the ledge to flap his wings. So as soon as he flapped his wings, fear seized him, terror seized him, and he found himself quite helpless. Then what happened? Then he saw his mother coming from other plateau, raised area is called plateau. She was on the rock. So when seagull saw his mother coming to him with a piece of fish in her beak, so he was very afraid, and he was very hungry. And since seagull was very hungry, he started calling, he started begging for food from his mother. Ga ga ga, in his own language, in his own words, he started begging for food, requesting for food from his mother. But actually mother had a trick, and she wanted that seagull must learn how to fly, and seagull must make an attempt how to fly. Seagull must make a sincere effort to take his first flight. This was the problem. And doing something new or learning some new skill is really very difficult. So she came. Seagull's mother came with a piece. His father was preening feathers on some other rock. He saw his mother was also coming towards him with a piece of fish. And as soon as he saw his mother coming towards him with a piece of fish in her beak, he has started calling his mother. Then the mother, in her language, in her words, she also said that how stupid you are. Why don't you try to get the food? Why don't you try to dive at the fish? Why don't you try to make an attempt to catch this fish? This is what mother was saying to him. But mother did not leave him. Mother did not leave him, and mother did not give up her attempt. Mother did not give up her hope. She had hope that seagull will learn how to fly, or seagull will learn how to take the first flight. So she came. So she came with a fish, and when she came with a piece of fish, he was maddened by hunger. And one more thing I would like to share with you. On that very particular day, his brother, seagull's brother, had learned how to, means seagull's brother had learned how to catch a fish, how to dive at a fish, and he had succeeded. Means the seagull's elder brother had succeeded in catching a fish for himself. So father, mother, sister, all the family members were very happy to see the achievement of seagull's elder brother. And at last what happened, that when he found, means when the seagull found, seagull was very hungry, let me tell you, very hungry. He has become weak, and he was tired and exhausted, and he was maddened by hunger. It's a very important line. I am talking about motivation. There is something that motivates you, that arouses your need, that arouses your stamina, that arouses your strength, that arouses your spirit, that gives a push to your spirit, that boosts up your spirit. This was the motivation. He was maddened by hunger. I mean to say, seagull was maddened by hunger. He was so hungry. He was so hungry because he had not eaten anything for one day. At the same time, just because of being hungry, he was also exhausted and tired, and he was not feeling comfortable. So seagull's mother took notice of him. And one more thing, actually seagull was very clever, I would say. Seagull, what did one on that particular day, seagull stood on one leg and hid that leg under his feathers, and he showed that he was sleeping. Why did seagull stand on his leg, on his one leg? Why did seagull pretend to be sleeping? Why did seagull show that he was sleeping, keeping standing on one leg and keeping it under feathers? He did so to attract the attention of his mother, to attract the attention of his father, so that mother and father should feel pity on him, and they should bring some food for him. So this was the thing. Now mother came with a piece of fish. And actually mother came flying to him, but she was close. Mother was close to seagull, holding a piece of fish in its mouth, but she was not giving, because she wanted seagull to make an attempt, and mother kept a distance. And now seagull was maddened by hunger. This was the motivation, compelled him. This hunger compelled him, this hunger forced seagull to take a flight. And this was the trick of seagull's mother. This is exactly what seagull's mother wanted from him, that he should fly, he should make at least one attempt to fly. कोशिश करनी चाहिए. And now in order to make an attempt to get the fish from his mother's mouth, he fell down. Seagull fell down from the ledge. Seagull fell down from the ledge. He fell down from the rock. And for 1 minute, seagull was completely terrorized. Fear had seized him. He was not in a position to remember anything, because he was maddened by hunger. He made an attempt. Mother was close to him, and he wanted to take the piece of fish from his mother's mouth. So in order to make an attempt to grab the fish from his mother's mouth, he fell down. And he fell down and he went downwards. Seagull, at that point of time, Seagull forgot everything. Fear seized him. Terror seized him. He did not think anything. He might have thought that his story was over. But suddenly, what happened? That seagull found that his flaps, his wings flapped. His wings went outstretched, and then seagull started flying. And when seagull started flying, this was his first flight. And this is exactly what seagull's mother wanted. She was teaching seagull to take his first flight, and then seagull started flying all around. Since he was very tired, so he could not fly for a long time. Then he fell down. He fell downwards. He fell into the sea. So when the seagull fell into the sea, his legs, means seagull's feet, touched the seawater, and thereafter seagull's belly also touched the seawater. And then seagull found that he was not sinking in the seawater. He was not getting drowned in the seawater. He was floating on the seawater. So everybody was very happy. All parents were very happy. His brothers and sisters were very happy, and they came around. When they came to know that seagull had learned the art of flying, or seagull had succeeded in taking his first flight, his father, mother was with him, his sister, his brothers, all the family members, the members of his family came to support him, and they came with the scraps of fish, and they offered scraps means pieces, scraps of fish to seagull. So they were very happy, and this was a proud moment for the whole family of seagull. And this way seagull conquered fear. He got over his fear, and he learnt the art of flight. So the role of mother is, we cannot deny the role of his parents, especially the role of his mother, who played this trick. She came closer. Have a look. She came closer. Even being so close, she did not offer food to whom? Seagull. Why did she not give food to seagull? She could have given. She was not his enemy. Actually, she wanted seagull to make an attempt to fly, and you did. So hunger compelled seagull. He was maddened by hunger. Pagal ho gaya tha. He was maddened by hunger. So hunger compelled seagull, and mother was with him. So our parents also want to teach us all the skills of life for our better life, for our decent and dignified life. They are our well-wishers. They are always concerned about us, and if we try out something new, it really takes time, but consistency is needed. If we practice some work, initially everything appears to be hard, everything appears to be an uphill task, but when we start practicing, or when we start working out on the things that appear to be hard or that appear to be difficult in the beginning, the same thing becomes very easy for us, and we get a mastery over it, we get a command over it. And this is exactly what happened with seagull too. And seagull was very happy, everybody was very happy. So my dear students, I would say that these two things are very prominent here: fear and hesitation. Dear students, fear and hesitation are the two negative traits that always stop us from doing something new, that always stop us from learning some new skills. But if we are determined, and if we keep on working, if we keep on if we keep on practicing, practice makes us perfect, and practice gives us back what we desire to attain, what we desire to get, and what we are dealing to achieve in our life. We can get through determination, hard work, courage, confidence, and commitment. In the beginning, we we become hesitant, we get nervous, but as we continue to practice more and more, and as we continue to practice regularly, there a stage comes in our life when we find ourselves that we are able to shed off our fear. So it is time for us to shed off our hesitation, to shed off our fear, to shed off our nervousness, and then we become bold and brave. Thank you, dear. Thank you very much. I hope whatever I have explained, it is clear to you. You must have understood. This is all for today. I have taught you the first story of this first story of this part, that is his first flight by Lion O'Flaherty. I have given you the detailed explanation. I hope that you must have understood it. With this, the story comes to an end. Thank you very much. Till then, take care of yourself. Stay blessed. Keep learning, keep practicing, keep working. Thank you very much.